Hey there, good afternoon. Welcome to Central Valley Talk Live. It is 12:18 on this Saturday, the 2nd of October. Thanks for joining us. I'm Austin Reed, coming to you from our Tower District studios inside the Mike Briggs building. This is a live look at Fresno behind us, and as you can see, it is very smoky out there. The air quality is awful today. So if you're thinking about doing outdoor activities, you may want to think again. This air quality is most likely going to stay like this through the weekend as a number of fires are burning across the state of California. So our first guest today joining us in our Tower District studios is Jacob Sanchez, and he is a community advocate. You do a number of things specifically in Hanford, and we had connected on Instagram, and I was kind of looking at your profile. You do so many things. So I thought we could have a good conversation about what's happening in the city of Hanford. So Jacob, welcome to the show.
Thank you, thank you.
Now, tell everybody kind of your background. We'll start there.
Perfect. So I was born and raised here in Hanford in the Valley, of course. I lived in Sacramento for a year when I went to school up there. I worked in the state capitol for about a year as well, working on different legislation as a legislative assistant / intern for them. I dealt with water issues, criminal justice, the whole kind of sorts of that. And then I came back to Hanford and I wanted to be more involved in the community. So I was 19 and I applied to the planning commission for the city.
That's so cool.
And yeah, luckily it was a fun little experience and I got it. And I was the youngest governing official. The paper reported on it. I beat the predecessor that held it at 20 years old.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
wow.
So it was fun, and I served on it. I got reappointed again, so I'm currently the chairman of the commission. And then in that little time span, I also got elected to serve on the Kings Community Action Board of Directors, was appointed to the Kings County Homelessness Collaborative, and then I ran for city council in 2020. And in that little time span as well, I got connected, and I served on a couple other little commissions or oversight boards, I guess you can call them, for Kings County Probation Department for their new juvenile justice center. And then I also got to witness Main Street Hanford because I volunteer with their organization and kind of see what they do and help out where I can. And then I ended up working at the Chamber of Commerce as the assistant for their administration. So a little bit of time.
You're like me. I started in broadcasting. Well, I was a little bit younger. I was like 13.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and but it was more part-time stuff and more like I worked in public access television. But when I was 17, I got hired full-time as a reporter for the Fox station up in Oregon.
Oh, wow.
So we have a similar story as far as, doing what we love early on in life.
Yep.
So, and you're continuing in that role. Tell us a little bit about some of the things that you see Hanford facing in 2021 and then looking ahead to next year as well.
Perfect. So some of the key things that we see is, especially with COVID kind of in the rearview mirror almost, we have a lot of businesses that are struggling that applied for, grants or loans through like SBA or different organizations and companies. And they're kind of trying to struggle to keep the doors open. And so it's just kind of seeing what the city can do or what local community members can do to support local business to keep them, in town, keep them afloat without having to close up shop. That's one of the biggest hurdles right now that I see from different boards I serve on and with work itself that always kind of comes up is how do we help our local businesses out. Another key topic that has been an issue for years and not only in 2021 but in the next year or so is homelessness. That topic keeps getting kind of tackled in different ways. The city has taken some steps to try to mitigate that factor and make laws and policies to try to help control or alleviate some of the homelessness in our parks. I serve on the collaborative, and we're taking at different looks at establishing a shelter possibly, or seeing what the needs are of the homeless population and kind of figuring out what the city can do, what the collaborative can do, what the county can do, and all these different acting bodies, what we can come together and work on to address this issue, because it's so finicky that you can't just make a one solution fits all. It's different proponents that have to work together in order to kind of minimize it. So that's one big topic we're dealing with. And I'd say the last one the city is currently facing, and that is a big hot topic with community residents and our local governing officials, is zoning. Hanford has a very unique zoning situation where certain businesses are only allowed in downtown Hanford, and they're not allowed to be in the outer parts. We have their own commercial region, and that's where we have like the bigger box stores on the east and west side of the town. And you can't have a furniture store over, I believe, 5,000 square feet. Outside of downtown, you can't have optometry, certain medical offices, law offices. They have to stay in downtown. And so right now, it's a big discussion on whether or not to eliminate those zoning requirements to let those type of facilities go into the areas outside of downtown, or to keep them there. And so that's a big topic that's been discussed for the past 20 years, and now it's kind of coming under the microscope and addressed right now.
I want to real quick go back to the homeless problem. Obviously it is a hot topic issue in Fresno, but our population is, 8 times, 10 times, whatever, bigger than Hanford. But Hanford is a city. I mean, your population's around, 50 to 60,000 people. So, I mean, it's a city. In cities of that size across the country, it kind of depends as far as if homelessness is a real problem. On a scale of 1 to 10, how big of a problem is it? Because I don't really know.
I would say for the city of Hanford and living there, I would say it's probably close to an 8 or 9.
Wow.
Only because we're the county seat for Kings County.
Okay.
And so I'm not saying that the other cities in Kings County don't deal with homelessness, but when we look at the point in time count for the visible homeless that we can actually count, Hanford carries the majority of Kings County of about, I think it was close to 200, I want to say. Wow. And other cities in Kings County didn't even reach, I don't think, 100, let alone like 70. Okay. And so Hanford has the majority of homeless in Kings County. And that's, again, just the visible homeless people that we can count. That doesn't count, people that are borderline homeless or
maybe living in their car.
Exactly, or couch surfing, as we call it, that they kind of move around homes. It's just what we see is around 200, and that number hasn't decreased. So it's becoming a big issue that we're trying to handle.
So, I mean, what do you do, though? I mean, that's the hot button question.
That's exactly. And on the collaborative, we've talked about different methods, but no one can really agree on one because it takes, not only the collaborative, because we're not a body that can authorize the use of funds like a board of supervisors or city council. And it takes a lot of political will for these elected officials because they have to weigh what is best for the city, also what's best for the constituents. And so it's not a tough decision for anyone to make. What the city of Hanford has done, though, and I give credit to our police department, is they established a HEART team. And what they do is they got F-150s, I believe, so they can drive in the dirt fields or drive where it's kind of not paved, where a lot of homeless people end up, having their place of residence, to speak. And they kind of go there, create relationships with these people, try to provide them services. We have our health and human services that go out with them. They kind of collaborate, and if you're homeless, these are programs that can help you out. So they've been doing a really good job when they've been causing some issues with people, just walking in the park or from events. The HEART team's the one that comes out and kind of, tells them that they can't be there. And instead of being quick to arrest them, they kind of help steer them in the right direction and tell them, you can't be doing this, you have to go somewhere else. And it's nice to see that our police department is trying to be, very proactive in trying to find them services.
Good. And
another thing that we just established too, and again, I serve on the KCO boards, so it kind of is all touching corners because we're all intertwined. But the county just established an old hotel and made it apartments called Sunrise Apartments.
Really?
And they are for homeless individuals.
Great.
Where they can be sheltered in an apartment. There's strict rules you have to follow.
Sure.
But they're sheltered. They can have JTO come on site, provide services if need be.
Huh.
And that kind of kickstarted, and it's a very controversial topic in the county, but it's happening.
So there's a lot of people against it?
There was some, just because people get that stigma where they don't want the homelessness near them. And, it's a tough topic to swallow. And everyone's like, well, we want to do something, but we don't want them living in our backyard or living across the street from us. And people didn't want it in their area where they live or where they shop. And so it just kind of was, we have to pick somewhere to put it. Right. And someone's going to have to end up biting the bullet for it. And it's sad to say, but we have to address the problem. And, not everyone's going to be happy about it.
Yeah. So COVID obviously has been a big impact for businesses, and I guess at this point you're just hoping to help them out as much as possible, huh?
Yeah, it's sad because I worked at all local breweries before, local businesses before working at the chamber, and I was a manager of a local theater downtown, and I went to work at a local brewery when the theater shut down because of COVID, and I have a lot of friends that are business owners in Hanford itself, and it just sucks because a lot of them with wages and of course having to deal with workers' comp and insurance for it, it's been tough because they couldn't get a lot of business in there. And with the state of California trying to err on the side of caution, they put very strict regulations on what people can go out and do. And so it's kind of hard to maneuver that. And right now that it's kind of in the rearview mirror, they're trying to get open to do more things. But people have got very accustomed to staying at home, having DoorDash delivered to them or having their groceries from Walmart delivered. So they're not going out. And it's tough because everyone wants to support local. But again, too local is not always the cheapest thing when you can go to a big box store and of course they can afford to have it cheaper. So right now I was just kind of looking and seeing what we can do to help promote them, promote their business, and get people to go back to kind of how it used to be where, the brewery was filled with people, local restaurants were packed, to the wall. It's kind of seeing how we can go back to that, what steps we can take to get there.
I know the mall's back open now.
Yes,
and
the mall's
that's
back
been
open
open for a while, but that's a cool mall, the Hanford Mall.
Yeah,
I've
it's
been there.
different. It's one of it's very few because like we go to like Fashion Fair and it's like part outdoor, part
Right,
indoor.
right.
You go to like the River Park and it's like an outlet.
Totally
The mall's,
outdoor, yeah.
Yeah, you're right. The mall's unique.
And then you go to Manchester Center and you're like, why did I go here?
Exactly. You have Caltrans and the Regal movie theater.
Yeah,
and that's
right,
about it right now.
exactly. It looks like a ghost town in there. But the Hanford Mall, it's like going back to the 90s in 2021. It's cool.
Exactly. And actually, with the chamber, we're doing an event to try to bring back traction to the mall, especially after COVID. Okay. And we saw that Tower District does like a mall, or not a mall crawl, but like a zombie crawl.
Yeah.
And so we're kind of taking that idea and putting it in the Hanford Mall. So we're doing a zombie mall crawl so people can dress up, have fun.
That's going to be, when is that going to happen?
October 16th. So Saturday,
Very
October
good.
16th.
Okay.
So we're hoping to bring a little bit more business, make it family friendly during the daytime, and then after the mall's closed, we're kind of taking over the mall. And we're doing an after party for the 21 and over.
Nice.
Get an ABC license to be able to serve liquor and adult beverages, and then have a DJ there. Cool. So to kind of at least not only bring business to the mall tenants, but also kind of bring people out to the mall to see what's really in there and kind of hopefully to drive more business there.
If somebody has questions for you, best way to get in touch with you, probably on your Instagram, right?
Yeah, I'm always, it's sad to say, but in this day and age, I'm always on Instagram, and messages come up on my phone, so it's easy to respond on there.
Yeah. Very good. Jacob, thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
We'll have to do this every, a few times a year, just kind of talk about what you're working on and the city is, because we love Fresno, but we also love the surrounding areas. That's why we call ourselves, Central Valley Talk. So.
Exactly. Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. I'm Austin Reed. You're watching Central Valley Talk, the weekend edition. Coming up next, we've got another guest, a couple more guests actually this afternoon. We'll be live and local till around 2 o'clock, so stay tuned.